Hi, this is Garibay, and today I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I specifically want to talk about his run in the 2024 U.S. presidential race to be the 2024 U.S. president, right? And I want to talk about what he's doing to perform and make it the rest of the way there and actually win the 2024 U.S. presidency, and why President Biden and President Donald Trump are both doing the same thing, which is completely different than Vivek Ramaswamy's path to winning the 2024 U.S. presidential candidate, and how, as we go deeper into the 2024 U.S. presidential election cycle, right? We're in the race right now. We're realizing I want to sell you on this. I want to sell you on this. I want to sell you on this because it's truth in my humble opinion. There is absolutely no difference between a President Joseph Biden President Joseph Biden voter and advocate, and a President Donald Trump voter and advocate. They are the same. And so we're going to talk about a new term. We're going to talk about it right now, and we're going to talk about what Vivek Ramaswamy can do to use this term to get all the way there. Okay. So one of the things that President Donald Trump has permanently made part of the American political cycle is names that stick, right? And you're like, oh, Scott, those are terrible. We should never go back to that. It's done. It's over, right? You're not going to be able to win without using Donald Trump's tactics going forward. He has changed politics forever. And one of the things he did is he has this ability to communicate simple speech and give nicknames that would stick, right? And he did this all the time, right? And he would absolutely decimate candidates with these, shrill Hillary. Like it was powerful, terrible, but powerful, right? And then lock her up. It was like, he would pick language that stuck, right? And it was here we are. This is where we've landed. So one of the things I think that Vivek Ramaswamy should begin to recognize, and language he should begin to use, is Sarfo Candidates, right? And I think he should use this because he needs to start educating the American people that there is absolutely zero difference between President Donald Trump voters and President Biden voters. They're both establishment and they're both conservative. They don't want anything to change. If President Biden gets in, nothing changes from where we are right now, okay? If President Donald Trump gets in, nothing changes from where we were in 2016. Nothing changes is exactly what conservatives want, right? So it really doesn't matter if you vote President Biden or if you vote President Donald Trump. Nothing's going to change. It's just what years it's not going to change from, okay? There we go. Those are parameters, not really change, right? Are we going to repeat 2016 to 2022, or are we going to repeat 2020 to 2024, right? No change. There's no change. That's the point, right? And what he needs to really start to, explain to people is, like, you need to understand who you're voting for and what you're actually dealing with, right? So who is that and what is it, right? So let's talk it through. Sarfo Candidates. That's what President Donald Trump is. And that's what President Biden is. They're both Sarfo candidates, right? They're just mummies who are being stood up, right? And they're bound tightly, right? Can't really move, right? And we very much see this with President Biden, right? Does anybody think that President Biden is governing, that he's thinking about the problems of the American people and making decisions? No, he sits in a chair. People bring him some documents. Staff brings him some documents. He signs them. There's no difference between him and Dianne Feinstein, right? He's not governing. He's not making decisions. He's not thinking each day. What he's doing is remaining alive, right? He's mummified, right? He's kept in place, right? And you're like, well, wait a second. Aren't mummies in coffins? President Biden and President Trump are one day away from a coffin by expectation, right? If President Biden dies tomorrow, it was like, sad but not surprised. If President Donald Trump dies tomorrow, sad but not surprised. They were 80. We put them into a job that was harder than Dianne Feinstein had. We just watched what happens when you elect an 80-year-old person to a high-stress job. They fall in a coffin. Sarfo candidate. Make it a nice coffin. Make it a gold coffin. Sarfo candidate. Right? It's just a mummy. It's a walking corpse. Right? And that's what we're talking. And it's not polite. I definitely understand this isn't polite. But basically, Vivek Ramaswamy needs to say, listen, I'm a candidate you can expect to live for the 4 years you elected me. If you have any expectation that President Trump or President Biden will live through the term that you are electing them to, you are being ludicrous and you have no relationship with science. We just watched Dianne Feinstein elected to a far less stressful position. Right? They're like, hey, how about you? You're 80, you're in your 80s. We'll elect you to a high-stress job. Oh, you fell in a coffin. We just watched it happen, right? Sarfo candidates. These are human mummies who are being propped up and sold to you as though they will actually, like, they're saying, hey, the Democrats and the Republicans are doing the same thing. They're like, elect this 80-year-old person and they'll rule for 4 years. No, they won't even live for 4 years. We just watched Dianne Feinstein fall in a coffin. You are selling Sarfo candidates, right? There is no difference between President Biden and President Trump. They are both Sarfo candidates. There are creepy, old, mummified human corpses that are being displayed and to pretend that they will rule for 4 years, right? And with Dianne Feinstein as new evidence, immediate evidence, American evidence, ubiquitous evidence, absolutely in your face, this will not work proof, in my humble opinion. We can no longer elect Sarfo candidates. It is not fair to elect candidates that there is no reasonable expectation they will actually live through the term, let alone rule through the term. And Vivek Ramaswamy can say, listen, I will live. I will live and I will rule. Nothing will be put in front of me that I don't read. I will wake up at 6 a.m. I will jog. I will go to my job. I will drink coffee because it won't give me a heart attack. I will go and hand out water bottles at disaster zones because I can leap over broken pieces of wood. I will be your living, actually moving, not mummified corpse of a president. I'm alive. I'm vibrant. I'm dynamic. I'm capable. Pick me over a Democrat Sarfo candidate and a Republican Sarfo candidate, right? No Sarfo candidates, just living human beings, right? People who can be expected to be living human beings for the entirety of their term, which is outrageously unreasonable for there to be any expectation that President Donald Trump or President Biden will actually live through their term. Every single word of that, to me, is what Vivek Ramaswamy needs to focus on and do, right? That all of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing and have a wonderful millennium.